My name is Jennifer Haggerty, and the lesson that I have for you today is all about the COVID 19 training that we did for my long term care facility that I work at. We had to go along with the governor's and CDC's recommendation of stopping all visitors there at the nursing home for this past 6 weeks or so. The only visitors that could come by were people who were there for end of life issues and that were necessary as far as doctors and hospice nurses. They would not let hospice aides come in, nor the barbershop salon ladies, um, any extra entertainment, anything like that. We couldn't gather in groups of more than 10, so all the in services that I had planned for the staff, I had to stop and do it a different way. I had to do one on one or go to each nurse's station. I had to check everybody off on hand washing, so make sure that you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Sing the happy birthday song twice. That's a good rule of thumb to know that you're washing your hands long enough. Um, let's see, so we checked everybody off on hand washing. We also had to check off key staff on personal protective equipment use, PPE use. We went with Emory University's recommendations on conserving PPE for the COVID unit. We've made a dedicated area that will just be used for if we have somebody who's presumptively positive or actually is found to be positive with coronavirus, COVID 19. So far, we only had one patient back there that was presumptive positive, but his swab came back negative. So the people working back there in that isolation unit, again, like I said, we're using Emory University's recommendations, and it deals a lot with after putting on your gown, then your gloves over the cuffs, then your N95 masks, and then your headgear or goggles, your eyewear. Um, After each step, you need to be putting hand sanitizer on the gloves, which is something I've never had to deal with before. But they're saying that studies have shown that that reduces the amount of um, virus that's alive on the gloves themselves, so you don't contaminate yourself. Something else that we had to do is screen all the visitors who were allowed inside the building and all the staff members every time they worked. We had to screen them with their temperature, and they couldn't come in if they were 100 degrees or higher. We also had to do a symptom questionnaire check every time they worked. The symptom checker went over things such as, do you have a headache, sore throat, um, let's see, body aches, diarrhea, which is surprising. Have you been to any airports or been in any um, areas where there's community spread of disease? Um, we also had to make sure that they weren't around anybody who was being tested or was positive. It was very tricky also for new employees that we were trying to hire. If they currently work at a facility where there's an outbreak, then they have to have a test to make sure that they're negative, and also not have worked there within the last 14 days, like after getting their swab. These are the biggest things that we had to educate all the staff on, and it seems like things keep changing every day, or at least for a while it was changing often. So our infection control nurse had to stay in contact with our health department and the CDC guidelines, and also everything that the governor had put out. Again, we're in the little panhandle rural area in Florida. I would say these are the biggest change. I hope that we reopen soon. It's been difficult for the residents and for the staff. Um, the activities have had to be done on the unit, and they've still had to do the social distancing and separate the residents from one another by a little bit, by at least 6 feet. All the staff and all the visitors that enter into the area where their residents are have to wear some sort of face covering, whether a cloth face mask or a regular surgical mask. We do provide some, but we're trying to save on PPE and encourage people to wear cloth ones. Um, Hopefully that will end soon because that's been the cause of a lot of headaches and hardships, but we're doing what we can to keep the residents safe. That concludes the education that I would like to give you about COVID-19 recommendations at a long term care facility. Thank you.